Aileen Carol Wuornos was a serial murderer who was responsible for the deaths of 7 men. She is widely believed as the first female serial murderer in the United States. She was found guilty of 6 murders and condemned to death. Aileen Carol Pittman was born on February 29, 1956, in Troy, Michigan, to Leo Dale and Diane Wuornos. Her father was a psychopath and child molester who was in prison at the time of her birth and later committed suicide. Aileen and her brother were abandoned by their mother and adopted by her maternal grandparents. Her grandpa was a pedophile who sexually molested the daughter from an early age. She also had sexual relations with her sibling. She began engaging in sexual activities in school in return for drugs and food when she was just 11 years old. When she was 14, she became pregnant and was placed in a shelter for unwed mothers. Her baby was adopted. In 1981, she was involved in an armed robbery of a convenience shop. In May 1982, she was sentenced to jail and freed in June 1983. She was arrested again a few years later on suspicion of attempting to pass fraudulent checks. She was also a suspect in the disappearance of a handgun. Her illegal activities expanded dramatically in 1986. She was accused with auto theft, fake identification, resisting arrest, and threatening a male friend with a pistol that year. The cops discovered a .22 handgun and extra ammo in her vehicle. The body of her first known victim, Richard Mallory, was discovered in December 1989. She claimed that he tried to rape her and that she killed him in self-defense. Surprisingly, the man had a rape conviction on his record. After 6 months, the body of her second victim was discovered. David Spears' nude body was discovered with several gunshot wounds in June 1990. He was shot with a .22 handgun. Within days of discovering Spears' body, another body was uncovered. The third person had become extremely decomposed and could not be identified right away. It did, however, have some similarities to the prior 2 finds. As a result, the police connected the 2 murders. The corpse was eventually identified as that of a rodeo worker called Charles. In July 1990, the car of a missing merchant sailor named Peter Seams was discovered wrecked. 2 ladies were spotted in the car, according to eyewitnesses. Police assumed one of the ladies was Aileen Wournos based on their description. Eugene Burress, a delivery driver, was discovered dead in August 1990. He was shot twice with a .22 caliber handgun. Dick Humphreys, a former police chief, was discovered dead in September 1990, with 6 gunshot wounds from a .22 handgun. This corpse was discovered in Marion County. In November 1990, the killer's final victim was discovered. Walter Antonio, a truck driver, had been dead for less than 24 hours when his body was discovered. This victim, like the others, was nude and had been shot 4 times with a .22 firearm. The police eventually discovered enough evidence to charge Wuornos with the murders. She was convicted guilty of murdering 6 of the men, but Peter Seams' body was never discovered. She was sentenced to death 6 times. Initially, she claimed that all of the victims had raped her while she was working as a prostitute. She later modified her remarks and presented contradictory versions of the deaths. Aileen Wuornos got the dubious distinction of becoming the first female serial murderer in the United States after murdering 7 men in a row. Her tragic life and the events that led to the deaths elicited much compassion. She was sentenced to death 6 times for the murders she committed. The state of Florida executed her via lethal injection on October 9, 2002.